Welcome to this 4D yoga webinar slash meditation, where we would like to introduce you a very unique geometric concept, which is called 4D. There's going to be a small presentation for about 20 minutes where we would like to explain to you about this principle called 4D Torus, what it is, when it appeared in the universe, what is it for, and why does it exist?
Yeah, how does it work? I mean,
How does it work? Yeah.
How does it happen now?
And who made it?
Yeah, it's the five W's that aren't really W's. You know.
Then we have a 4D meditation, which is about 20 minutes, which Colin recorded. It's our first meditation we recorded, and so we're going to listen to that. So we're all going to meditate, which is brilliant. And then we're going to have a Q&A. We will be talking also about the 4D yoga retreat that's coming up, just as something that we do together, the three of us. So yeah, and if you have any questions in the end. What is it? Does anybody know what a torus is? How it looks like? No idea. And Diana, she knows. Okay, Diana, go ahead. What do you know about the torus?
I'm making it.
You're making it. Okay. Maybe we all make it together, yeah? So we all just put our finger. Yeah, let's put our finger here. So between us, kind of, yeah. And then we're gonna just stretch our arms up, right? And then we're gonna stretch our arms to the side. Yeah, the expansion, this is the max. And then these arms collapse down back to the dot. Yeah, let's do this again, but this time we're going to say the word, yeah? The word is called Torus. And then we're going to do the movement, yeah? 3, 2, 1. Torus. Let's try it one more time. And 3, 2, 1.
Torus.
Yes. And last time. 3, 2, 1.
Torus.
Yes, the Torus. This movement you do a lot in yoga, actually. But what it represents is this geometric principle called a torus. It's a field. And basically what you have is there's a dot, and this dot expands into the circle, and the circle collapses back into the dot. And it does that through, let's say, this space, through this 3D space. And by doing so, it creates this kind of donut-like shape. And that's what a torus is. And this is a particular one. This is called the, is it the horn torus? Yeah.
Yeah.
There's also other ones where it's basically a circle in the middle or the circle is overlapping. But in general, it's a mechanism by which the inside becomes the outside and the outside becomes the inside. When did this shape appear? Is a big question. Where does it actually appear in the universe? This question, to answer it, we have to think about where actually did it all begin? What do we know about the beginning of creation? What's your guess? Where does it all begin?
This, never. For me, never. But
True.
In school, we learn everything comes from the Big Bang, right?
Yeah.
And this Big Bang started from a singularity, where everything in the universe were once upon a time together, compressed, infinitely dense in a dot. Yeah. And the dot is basically the first thing. And once you have a dot and you expand the dot, like you throw a stone in water, what happens to the surface? It creates these circles. Now, if you do that, the same thing, in 3D space, yeah, you actually create torus field. Because once you start to move the dot, yeah, it expands out. And at the same time, there's these theories that the universe may collapse again. And it starts to collapse. We have other stories as well, which is in religions. Maybe Colin can explain a little bit about that.
Yeah, we can see there's a background, and we can see that there are drops falling on the surface of a water. In a sense, what happens is if these circles are concentric rings and they expand outwards. And that's really the story of the beginning of creation depicted in sort of the Bible, where God's face moves across the surface of a water. But that same story is there in the Vedic knowledge, where you have the Vishnu underneath the waters, and then he, the Vayu rises out of his belly button. It's this lotus, and it rises to the surface of the water, and inside of that it opens, and it's like the Brahma, the creator, and he's he's creating on the surface of this water. Water has played a metaphor, and this idea of drops on the surface of water has played a metaphor the majority of all of these religions.
In the Bible, they say in the beginning, before God created the heaven and the earth, there was a void, an infinite nothingness, and the deep, an infinite, you could say, everything. The duality between two spaces that are extremely opposite each other, the infinite nothing, the empty, and the infinite full. And between those spaces, there's a surface, just like a water surface. And on the surface, God hovered. And then God said, let there be light. And then the whole story unfolds. And that's quite interesting, because you have this idea of surface, of water. And in the Big Bang, you got this idea of expansion. Yeah. So it all goes back to the simplicity of the shapes of a dot and a circle.
So one of the things about that torus form is we call it a fourth dimensional form, and that's because it has a shape on the one hand, but it also has a movement in it. And so that motion is what we call time. Time is a motion through space. And the torus form itself is continuously recreating itself, collapsing and recreating itself.
So if you're thinking about 4D, let's maybe move back to actually the explanation of 0D to 4D. 4D is like, it's a little bit beyond our perception also, because we're living in a 3D space. And you could say that 3D space can be described by various forms. Here in this example, we're looking at the curved geometries of a sphere. So a 3D space can be a sphere. Then you would say then obviously 2D space is any surface. So it could be a circle. 1D is a line, and 0D is a dot. So if we start at the beginning of creation, it kind of makes sense that space itself starts to expand and through some geometric process. So we got the zero, the singularity, the infinity, the infinite oneness, you could say. And from that, we got the line. When the dot moves, we got the circle. The line rotates, you could say, and then the circle is rotating, it creates a sphere. And we already saw how the dot can expand and collapse into itself through the torus. And that, in a sense, is a 4D field. Now, in school, we learn that 4D is time. Indeed, yeah. We say, okay, space is X, Y, and Z. And then all of a sudden we have time, which is a little bit of a different commodity, because we don't really think we know about time is that time is this thing where we are here with the dot at our center. Actually, time is just a change in perception, because in a way we're not moving, right? But something is changing, and that is time. And even though there might not be any future or no past, because you're always in the now, this very now seems to change. And this is exactly what is embodied within this form, because think about the sand clock. In the sand clock, you see the sands are dropping, kind of like this form, even the torus form. And what time is somehow these sands falling down. In this form, it's like you got the sand falling down, it wraps around itself and falls down again, and wraps around itself and falls down again. So you in this sense, you get like the motion and the perception of time, because you got a rhythm where every time it hits the center, you got the next moment. And in that way, this form represents time. Where do we see it? In fact, the torus, even though it's time is something else beyond our perception, let's be clear, because we're 3D, 3D consciousness, everything that is beyond the 3D is also beyond our perception. However, we do find the nature of 4D fields in the reality, because we can measure them in other ways. So, for example, the electromagnetic field of the Earth, we don't see it, just like we don't see electromagnetic fields between phones when we call somebody. We don't see these frequencies. However, they exist. And so the Earth itself is wrapped in this electromagnetic field with a north and a south pole. And birds use this field to orientate themselves and fly. We got the same field on the next scale of the universe, because the Earth is part of the solar system, and the center of the solar system is the sun. All the planets orbit around the sun, but the whole solar system, even though it's kind of a flat or corkscrew kind of structure, it is wrapped also in a torus field called the Oort cloud. And then if you're going out one layer beyond that, the whole solar system is part of our Milky Way, the galaxy. The Milky Way galaxy is kind of like a flat pancake spiraling around the center, a black hole, a dot. And what has been confirmed is that there is energy actually spewing out from that center, indicating actually the energy field of a torus as well. Now we're going smaller, and you could say, well, even ourselves, yeah, we are wrapped in this 4D field. We have an energy. Some people may call it the aura. Some people can even see the aura. It's an energy field around you. You can also sense it. No, if somebody comes into the room and he feels very low or he feels very happy, you might not see that person, but you can sense it. Going lower into the body, into the realm of cells, even cells themselves have been found to emit a certain light they call biophotonic light. It confirms also the existence of torus fields around cells. And lower than cells, you could say there's the atom. And within the atom and within the orbital structures of the atom, so how the electron cloud looks like, these electron orbitals, some of them actually have toroidal fields, such as this one. This is a d orbital.
So the purpose for the torus fields there, we can see, is to divide these different scales of reality. Whenever we talk about, the atoms, they exist at a certain scale. And when we talk about the cells, they exist at certain scales. Everything in the universe exists at a certain dimension of scale and is divided by these torus fields in order to create the sense of an object. An object has a field around it. That's how we make sense of the universe, through looking at this objective reality. Yeah, and so we can see that there are. This is what we call a 5 realms model. It's something we've taken from our book, but you can see here that that each scale you could map to what we call the platonic solids, or one of the elements, and it kind of makes sense. You've got this atomic realm. It's all like fiery atoms and that sort of thing, tiny sort of specks of matter and things like that, up to the galactic field, which is driven with these sort of plasma sort of clouds between these swirling galaxies, and everything in between that. Those realms are really sort of only observable by certain frequencies of light. They're outside of the visible spectrum generally, and then when you get into the visible spectrum, that's when we can observe the middle three, and they all nest in the same sphere: the tetrahedron, the cube, and the dodecahedron. There, the yellow is the tetrahedron, which is like water, and the water is a tetrahedral molecule, and it also represents that cellular dimension. Cells are immersed in a dimension of water. We're in the earthly realm here. We say, with the cube, we have a green sort of cube there. That's representative of, a lot of the atomic structures that we see are all falling into this lattice structure that is, solid matter is based on this cubic lattice structure quite often. And even there, when we move up to the solar dimension we call air, we can observe that with a telescope. We see the clouds in the air, and interesting, the air is made of a mixture of about 20% oxygen and 80% nitrogen, and that's 1/5, isn't it? It's divided up, and there's the 5 sides on the pentagon there, and the icosahedron at the top there has a rotatable midsection, just like an electromagnetic field does, that encompasses the whole thing. And so this model of space is divided by these torus fields until it unifies there at the largest scale with the icosahedron itself. So for those who are new to sacred geometry and that sort of thing, these 5 platonic solids are really the only solids that are possible in 3-dimensional space with regular sort of faces. So all of the sides will be the same, all of the corners will be exactly the same distance from the center. And in our book we go into a lot of detail about how each one of these solids nests together to form a kind of blueprint of space, and that actually terminates there then at the torus field. It starts with the torus field up to the icosahedron, and then it kind of finishes there, sort of thing. And so there's a progression of 3D shape and 4D shape, and actually multi-dimensional shape right the way through. And there are certain limitations to those shapes. And by looking at those limitations, we can begin to sort of make a kind of useful blueprint that can start to examine how how reality is constructed, how the universe works, and provide us with a useful metaphysical model. So one of the questions is, how do these torus fields come into existence in this universe? Why should they be there in the first place? And I suppose there are many theories about all of that. If you look into the Hindu cosmology, you'll find something called Indra's net, and you'll find that this is a kind of like a net with these nodes, and each one of these nodes contains the whole universe. And in a way, it's similar to the concept of an atom. The atom itself, the universe is powered by the atom, but in the background of space, what we find is that there's actually something called the background energy, it's called, or the 0 point energy, or energy in the vacuum. It's got numerous names, and prior to sort of like the 1900s, the concept of an ether field and an ether theory was the predominating theory in science, held by people like Nikola Tesla and people who brought us AC electricity, Maxwell, and all of those other great scientists. But it was abandoned quite quickly when they couldn't sort of resolve certain issues with the ether, such as they needed an incompressible fluid, and they couldn't see how that could work. But at the time, we hadn't really got a sort of firm grasp of the fourth dimension. That's really only started to come together in like the 1940s, where it's really started to gel from some of the previous work of mathematicians, etc., and started to become modeled by computers and allowed us to see more deeply into these fourth dimensional forms. And what we find is actually we find a very simple explanation for many of the findings of even science from the concept of this etheric energy, which could also be concluded to be a kind of infinite energy that is pouring through this universe. And it's the rate at which this energy moves through this multi-dimensional construct that kind of develops a kind of flow rate for the time that we're experiencing. And so actually all of us are experiencing now, we're experiencing a moment, it's a unique moment, and that's all generated by energy pouring through the universe. And this model then sort of starts to resonate with a lot of the other biblical stories and Vedic stories that we're told about the universe and how it works, and actually offers us insight into the nature of how these torus fields manifest. And we've got a whole section on our website Into Infinity about the 4D ether, so if you're interested in more of that stuff, you can read about it there.
Well, this is a very hot question, you could say.
It's a bit of a debate, isn't it? This one,
It's a debate, the who created this. Now, we were talking about this torus field, in our experience being time, the fourth dimension, these electromagnetic energy fields that give the boundaries of all scales of reality, and technically be in the background of this reality, possibly giving us potential of new energy and all of this stuff. And who created it? Is there a creator? According to various religions and philosophical approaches, there's always been the idea trying to define or determine who this creator could be. Because how did everything come into existence? If we're looking at all of the churches, if we're looking at all of the temples, almost all places of worship who believe in a creator or multiple creators, they're always embroidered with geometric patterns.
Yeah, and just to sort of think about some of that thing, obviously the term God, creator, and all of that stuff, it means different things to different people, and you could say that it's a vastly difficult concept to maybe embody in one word. But if we said that there's a beginning from a dot that expands into a circle, and it creates this torus field, that's a geometric process, and that is the process of creation, and as that field is inherent within each one of us, we're all a part of that creative process, we're all a part of that creator. So the part to start, I suppose, to look at if we want to answer those questions is to move to a point within ourselves.
Yeah, and within ourselves, we know from the Vedic teachings that we have energy system internally. So we're talking about these chakras, yeah, these 7 chakras, depending on which teaching you're following. But let's say in the Vedic system, we got these 7 chakras that are all representative for certain emotions and also skill sets, you could say, expressions of our being. And if you notice, it's actually vertically aligned within the Torus field. And in yoga, it's really about this field and how to activate the so-called Kundalini energy that rises from the spine, from the base of the spine, and connects then to the divine. That's what yoga is. It's a union with the divine, becoming the creator, you could say. And in the Torus field, yeah, you can see how this energy actually wraps around itself and becomes the inside again. And the outside of this field has also been known as the sphere of sensation in the Hermetic teachings, who were talking about this auratic field, but on the outside. So it's like the West and the East, they had both one side of the coin of this field. But in geometry, we know that actually this field is one, and it starts from the inside, comes the outside, and wraps around itself, and just loops in on itself forever. And this is exactly what we're gonna do now. We're gonna go for a meditation where we will internalize these concepts and really start to become aware of this field, how we can just feel it within us.
Had some really nice comments at the medicine festival, so thanks a lot everyone who made those comments. And you know, so that inspired me to actually get in the studio and record a little meditation just off the cuff to see what it sort of sounded like. So yeah, so this was actually recorded at my friend's studio. Thank you very much, Dave, for helping me out. And yeah, we're just gonna. It was quite. I actually had the first chance to actually sit down and, you know, listen to one of my own meditations. And I had quite a sort of stiff back at the time, and I sort of did the meditation late at night, went to bed. But when I woke up in the morning, I was amazed. It actually, you know, my back was actually sort of free of aches and pains and all of that stuff. So yeah, so I'd be interested. Maybe if you know, obviously, if you do try some of this stuff and you do see any difference, get in touch. You know.
Okay, everyone. So we're just gonna get ready for the meditation. It will last 20 minutes. So I'll just play that now.
So before we begin, let us take a moment to find a comfortable position, whether sitting down, cross-legged, on a chair, or with your back flattened to the ground. As long as you are comfortable, take a moment to find your space. And once you have begun to sink into that place, that comfortable place, breathe in the air. Breathe it deep into your being. Feel the sensations as you gently relax. The tensions dripping away. Turning your attention to the breath, begin to notice the natural rhythm coursing through your body, your connection to the air, the connection between mind and body, dancing in the air. Breathe in the oxygen. Feel its energy coursing through your veins. Relaxing every muscle in your body to the slow, rhythmic vibration of your breath. And as we relax more deeply, we find our attention being drawn to a point at the center of our being. The light emanating from a point inside your heart. Imagine the light, yellow, gleaming like gold. And as you breathe through the light, deep into your solar plexus, so the light becomes energized. Imagine the string of air passing from north to south down your spine, spinning the dot at the center of your being. A tiny speck, a star in the darkness of space, illuminating the world around you. As the light shines from a space within, begin to imagine approaching the light, the dot. And as you get closer, so the light grows in intensity, filling your vision with blinding color. And so you unify with your center, your dimension. Unify and breathe. And now begin to imagine a motion, a movement, as the dot expands upwards through the heart, into the throat, into the third eye, into the crown, expanding around you, forming a sphere that encapsulates your body. And as the ripple of energy cascades around the circle that is at your periphery, it collapses into itself, moving through the base into your solar plexus to become reunited once again with the dot within the heart. This cycle can be repeated as the energy flows up through the chakras to the crown, expanding into a circle, forming an auratic field of white light, purifying the world around you. Breathing, energizing, finding your space within the totality of reality. And as you breathe, begin to draw the attention to a secondary wave. Feeling the moment of release within the physical body. A slow-moving, gentle ocean that is washing through your being. Now you are afloat in the waters of life, free to experience yourself, your dreams, your ambitions, empowered to create, gifted to manifest. And as you breathe the energy of life through your body, strengthening the field, know that the vibration is attracting the energy of love, the vibrational frequency of unity coming together across the earth. Stars shine, unifying into a sun and becoming the sun in unity with your fellows who share the earth with you. Is a resonant function of energy, resonating. We gather the energy and disseminate it across the world. See your space unified now with those on the earth who share your dreams, who share your ambitions, who who long to be with you. Finding connection, allowing the energy to guide you. Knowing that you are being drawn together to help manifest a brighter future for yourself and for humanity. Know this power lies within you to change, to grow, to live, and to learn. And finding the center ushers in this new beginning. And now, taking a moment to return our attention to the breath, the flow of energy coursing through our body, forming the torus around us. Breathe in and strengthen the aura. Breathe out to push the energy up through your being. Breathe in to strengthen the aura, and breathe out, pushing the energy through the center of your being. Continue this breath for a few moments. Taking time, finding your pace, and seeing the light in your mind's eye growing, brightening, becoming lighter. Breathe deeply. Enjoy the sensation. And now we will begin to draw the energy closer from a sphere that surrounds you, compressing towards the center, drawing it in to become a unified dot at the center of your being. Stillness, silence, a moment of complete tranquility. Begin to turn your attention now to the world around you, the sensations within the body, the smells, the sound, and when you are ready, open your eyes.
everyone. Yeah, I hope that's audio is coming through okay. I got cut off a bit there, but that's okay. We'll also upload that to our website shortly, and so if you want to experience it again, that'll be there for you.
Do you want to share your experience, maybe? Someone?
Yeah, right. That was profound experience for me. Yeah, I didn't want to come out of that. I've not experienced meditation like that before, so I'm definitely going back. And the feedback I can give you to try and relate it to like kind of some of systems that I use, I think it's quite fascinating that so the rhythm was, and when you started talking about like the circles coming in and going back to that dot, that was where I started to expand into timelessness. And I've always wanted to get into a place of meditation where, you know, I'm just part of consciousness and that the definition of my body is gone and everything. And I could feel myself on my way to that, it felt like, actually. And it's something I've been wanting to work towards. So you've given me a way in. I mean, it's amazing, actually. Like, I don't think my senses have ever been I can see like the theory working through the cells, you know, of like the rhythm and how the energy is being going through the sensors to magnetize, and then to like kind of just, yeah, like go into the whole electric universe somehow or something. All the neurons are just going to go in there or something. I don't know, I'm talking off the top of my head now. It's really cool.
No, that's really amazing. Thank you very much, Phoebe. And it's really great that you had that experience, because obviously that was relatively a short meditation compared to some meditations out there. I wanted to sort of condense a lot of that, and I think obviously we had that small chat before, so that helps as well, doesn't it, to start to get the visualization going for the meditation. But it's great that you had, you know, that effect. Thank you very much for that feedback.
So the topic was 4D, well, it's 4D yoga, really. We're going to talk take a few more moments to talk about actually our retreat as well. But it was really centered around the torus. And we gave you an explanation of what it is, that it is a 4D geometry whereby there is a rhythm, a movement going on between the inside and the outside. And this is exactly what really initiated the beginning of creation. So it was right there at the beginning of everything. And in our life experience, the why, it creates boundaries between those different scales of reality, from the atom, the cells, the earth, the solar, and the galaxy, which beautifully aligns with our Platonic solids model and how the universe is actually a multidimensional construct. The how really relates to the idea that the torus is that 4D energy field that connects everything in the background, which leads us to the question of the who. If something is connected to everything that exists, well, we might as well speak about a unified consciousness. Yeah, some people may call it God. Some people may call it the ultimate being, the ultimate consciousness, oneness consciousness. However you want to call it, the truth is we can start with ourselves, and by understanding ourselves and how this 4D field works around us, we may unlock the keys to all of creation. I had quite some profound experience just now too, even though I was not quite there. But yeah, it is a quite powerful thing. And I think, yeah, the more you get into it, the more blockages you can also release, you know, and you can activate your energy field and feel better about everything else as well.
Well, I was just thinking, you were talking about this meditation, but yeah, we can experience it again online, but we can also experience it a couple of more times in this retreat. It's going to be a 6 days retreat in the south of Portugal, southwest of Portugal, where I am at the moment. This time of the year is still summer, so it's pretty good here. And it's going to be 6 days to tune into your higher selves and to hopefully to elevate up to the 4D and beyond. We have an intense and super interesting program. where we have daily yoga practices with myself, where we can balance our energy field using body alignment, symmetry. We're gonna align our body with the sacred geometry. We're gonna understand this connection between yoga and sacred geometry, and hopefully, obviously, working on with our spirit, opening to other realms of existence. Then we've got the exploration of spiritual and scientific concepts in of sacred geometry that Heike is going to be leading. So we're going to have daily sessions, hands-on, and talks, and very creative, fun, and Colin also with the meditation, bringing us to higher states of being. A lot of other activities, sauna in the place. It's an amazing place. It's a farmhouse on the top of a hill, so it's in between hills and the ocean in Portugal. So you are in the nature, but not so far from the beautiful beaches. Amazing food by our friend Alvaro, who's going to be cooking. Then other activities like breath work, ecstatic dance, a lot of music for sure. We have everything there. There's no need of bringing a lot of material because we've got everything that you need there. And right now we have this promotion. We have a promo code that you can use on your registration. We have the last spots available. So use this promo code that is here in yellow on your right hand side of the screen. And yeah, we would love to see you there. It will be an amazing experience, I'm really sure. And 6 days to experience deeply these new spiritual and scientific concepts.
Thank you, Diana. Great, amazing. Yeah, really now I would like just to open up for anything you would like to share. If you have any questions, some things you want to talk about, Q&A, this is the moment.
Sounds great, Heike. I'd love to come, but I don't know if I can get it together for this time.
Yeah.
But, just in case, how much is it?
The price at the moment is 1,199, but there's going to be a discount on top of that.
And then that's for the full board sort of thing. So you know, with all your accommodation. We do have a local price as well for those people who are locally based in the area. Just as another note, actually, we're going to be in Glastonbury. We've got one more month when we get back. We're going to be in Glastonbury and Brighton doing a few things. But maybe we'll check that out on some of the links. Maybe we'll catch up with you there.
Yeah. I just send out the links and the events just in the chat if you want to. Yeah, you will be in England, so that might be interesting for you. So we'll be in Glastonbury and in Brighton. We got a book. Yeah, I just wanted to say last few words to the book. Some of you have it already. Yeah, some of the other concepts they're more deeply written about in there. It's quite very intense book actually, because we try to really wrap the whole geometric universe theory in one book, which it was a quite challenge. It took us 8 years and 3 approaches, but we finally did it. So if you want to read more about it, it's there. I put the link as well. So that's like our little baby now. And from there, we're going to put out more stuff, because a lot of the things that we're doing are actually quite unique concepts that are different in many ways to what you find in the sacred geometry community.
Yeah, and also we also have our online academy, Da Vinci School, which I'm sure everybody knows about, davincischool.net. There's loads of free courses there. You just need to enroll. That's where we'll be putting the meditation as well, so you can hear it from there.
And with that said, I wish you all a very, very amazing good evening, good night, and hopefully, you can take some with you. Maybe you start to dream of the Torus. I don't know. But if you have any more questions, you can always come back to us. Thank you so much, and good night. Namaste.
Thank you.